Rally Germany 2014 billed as a celebration homecoming for Volkswagen. After 12 successive victories, a formation finish here would retain the manufacturer's championship, along with another head-to-head battle in the driver's title race between Sebastian Ogier and Jari-Matti Latvala. But someone forgot to read the script. Rally Germany rarely fails to deliver high drama, and it all began early this year. Thierry Neuville rolling out dramatically in shakedown. Driver and co-driver unharmed, but with a heavily damaged i20, the Hyundai mechanics would work through the night to rebuild the car before the start of the rally proper on Friday morning. Another double podium would seal the manufacturer's title on home soil for VW, and world champion Sebastian Ogier was on the limit from the start, the early leader in Germany. After his win in Finland, Jari-Matti Latvala is back in the hunt in the Drivers' Championship race, pushing hard like his teammate and doing more than enough to keep Ogier on his toes. Chris Meek leading the Citroën charge, but caught out on cool tyres in the opening stage. A spin costing him almost 10 seconds. Meek, though, would fight back to end the day in the podium places. Robert Kubica's difficult start to life at the top in the WRC continued. Back on his favourite surface, but not for long. It would be fully 4 minutes before spectators managed to haul Kubica's Fiesta back onto the road with a damaged front wheel. Having managed to start, Thierry Neuville had handbrake problems, but he managed to claw his way back up from 12th to 4th by the end of the day. And there was a further scare for the Belgian in the final stage, but thankfully nothing too serious. He continues. Teammate Danny Sordo claimed his first WRC win in Germany 12 months ago, and he was back on the pace in the i20, fighting for third at the end of the day. But then, a moment no one expected. Sebastian Ogier out in front, seemingly in control, going off the road on the final stage. A rare mistake from the newly married world champion.
I have a lot of things in my mind at the moment, and miss a little bit of concentration also, and miss a bit of motivation. But I will try to fight back.
Teammate Jari-Matti Latvala capturing evidence of just how badly Ogier got it wrong. Skid marks on the road there at the point of departure. The Frenchman's error leaving Jari-Matti with a comfortable lead and the title race wide open. So at the end of day one, Latvala holding an advantage of 37 seconds over Chris Meek, with Sordo up to third, Mikkelsen fourth. All very tight though, just 25 seconds between Meek in second and Mads Osberg in eighth. Brian Bouffier and Martin Prokop rounding off the point-scoring places. So, day two of Rally Germany, which sees us heading out east of the host city Trier, starting with more vineyard stages in Stein and Wein, and then Peterburg. But what follows is one of the most fearsome challenges of the season, as we head to the notorious Baumholder military ranges for the infamous Panzerplatte stages. This year, featuring the spectacular friendly Arena, that's a short run, followed by the big one, the daunting 42 kilometers of Panzerplatte Lang. Survive all that first time through, and you get to do it all over again in the afternoon. Almost 150 competitive kilometers facing the crews as we join our commentator, Paul King.
So some frightening challenges ahead then, but first a more traditional blast through the vines, starting with Stein and Wein. A humbled Sebastian Ogier down here on the start line of stage 7. That rare aberration the previous day, leaving the Frenchman down but not out. Starting in 35th position on the leaderboard under the Rally 2 restart rules. With his teammate Latvala out front and on course to bite a huge chunk out of his championship lead, he has to try and make up an 8-minute deficit he has between himself and the point-scoring places. But Ogier perhaps guilty of trying a bit too hard on this opening stage. This has thus far been a fine performance from 25-year-old Elfyn Evans on his WRC Deutschland debut in 7th and in stage 7, outperforming his experienced teammate Mikko Hirvonen. And if you want to get an idea how quick these roads are, Just keep an eye on that right foot.
Slot 9 left, narrows gravel.
These are damp, slippery conditions out here in stage 7, and with every passing car, this road is getting increasingly muddy. The sports asphalt aces, though, are beginning to flex their muscles and take a breath now as we join Thierry Neuville. Absolutely on the rev limiter. Second fastest in Stein and Vine, and closing right up on the 4th place of Andreas Mikkelsen. And Chris Meek could be one to watch on Saturday's damp, slippery tarmac. The man from Dungannon has plenty of experience on the wet asphalt of the Irish Tarmac Championship, but in Germany, you can't let your guard down for a second. Even with the calm, controlled notes from Paul Nagel. Crisis averted, and with a gap of over half a minute to the leader, Meek will be more concerned with the drivers behind than ahead for now.
And line very tight, 4 left minus.
Yeah, very tricky. I think it's getting worse and worse, to be honest. It's that in-between phase that's the most tricky, because there's sections that are dry. We're obviously all on the soft tyre, but when you come on the mud, if it's raining, it washes the road and you have grip. But now it's turned to a slime and it's getting ground into the road, and it's just like going across ice in places. So, and you've nowhere to go. The road's only a car width, so you just have to be very careful. I was cautious, but Thierry obviously was on fire this morning, so I'm happy. I just keep driving my rally.
Well, with Meek sensibly opting for caution on these slick, slippery roads, rally leader Jari-Matti Latvala could also be forgiven for easing up the pace. Not much sign of backing off here, though. The Finn has found a good rhythm despite the changeable grip levels. Third fastest in stage 7, the VW Star's lead is extended. Onto the shorter Peterburg stage, and Sébastien Ogier's rally was about to go from bad to much, much worse. Hitting near top speeds of close to 200 kilometers an hour. That was another terrifying accident. Losing control of the car briefly over this slight crest. At that sort of speed, Ogier and Julien Ingrassia were passengers as they flew over the Armco. The pair were taken to hospital for checkups, and stage 8 was cancelled due to the damage caused to the Armco. The former rally leader has lost his head this weekend and lost significant gains in the championship race. Ogier, of course, already well down the order. It remains to be seen if he'll be back on Sunday morning. Up at the front, meanwhile, Latvala's lead is up to over 40 seconds over Meek, with Mikkelsen coming under pressure from Neuville. And confirmation there that the battle for 6th between Hirvonen and Evans is heating up, just 0.8 of a second between the M-Sport teammates. After the break, the punishing Panzerplatte awaits with its unforgiving Hinkelsteins. We'll be right back in a few minutes. Welcome back to the ADAC Rally Deutschland. One of the side shows at this year's event was an autograph signing and demonstration lap from some of the sport's legends, including former world champions Stig Blomqvist, Ari Vatanen and Hannu Mikkola. And in another car park not too far away, the crews have some big decisions to make. A remote tyre service was provided by the organisers so the teams could decide at the last minute what rubber to go with as they ready themselves for the 42 kilometres of Panzerplatte. Softs for most, but hard compound tyres, interestingly, for the Hyundai boys. This is a fascinating stage ahead. So with the tactics decided, it's back to the serious business. The infamous Panzerplatte stages lie in wait, and on damp or drying roads, those tyre choices will be critical in the 42.5 kilometre Panzerplatte Lang. Even with the best tyre choice available, Robert Kubica has a lot of ground to make up from 17th after his off-road excursion the previous day. A stage win earlier, though, will help his confidence. Oh, now, that might have looked like a glancing blow, but these roadside Hinkelsteins, as they're known, are designed to keep tanks on the road. How he got away with that, I have no idea. By rights, that could have ripped off the corner of the car. Now, there's a fascinating battle developing today between the two M-Sport drivers. We saw earlier Mikko Hirvonen, one of the most experienced names in the sport, losing ground to his rookie teammate, Elfyn Evans. Again, though, the Finn can't match the pace of the young Welshman through this epic 42-kilometre stage. Hirvonen only a second or so slower, but it's enough to see him slip behind his teammate. The fight for third is also intensifying, with Thierry Neuville maintaining his impressive charge. The Belgian Bullet is well accustomed to such changeable tarmac surfaces from the national events of his homeland, and with the road ahead looking mainly dry, this is where that hard compound tyre choice could come into its own. And Neuville has certainly taken full advantage. Fastest through the punishing Panzerplatte so far. He could make some serious progress here. Like Neuville, Dani Sordo has opted for Michelin's hard compound rubber, which is looking like an inspired choice by the Hyundai team. It's one thing to have the right tyres, but quite another to get the best out of them over 42.5 kilometres of abrasive concrete, though. Sordo is a little more cautious than Neuville and slips behind his teammate to fourth. Chris Meek has opted for the soft compound tyre, and with just 7.9 seconds in hand on the chasing Hyundais before this marathon stage, this could be a case of tyre preservation for the Brit.
150. Stop. Turn descended very early, long open.
Danger lurking around every corner in Panzerplatte, but this is a confident, controlled Meek we're seeing these days. And there is no sign of panic from the Citroën star. Slower than Neuville, but faster than Sordo. This is now a three-way fight for second, and it's bubbling away nicely. Plenty of excitement and intrigue further back then. The rally leader, meanwhile, is not sitting idle. Despite his lead of more than 40 seconds, Jari-Matti Latvala is maintaining his vice-like grip on the top spot. With stage wins in both Panzerplatte stages, Volkswagen's Flying Finn remains on course for his first tarmac victory. Latvala's advantage is extended to 45.8 seconds by the end of the morning loop, but just look how tight it is behind the Finn. There's now just 9.3 seconds between Meek and Sordo, with Neuville surging up 2 places to third. Confirmation too that further back the M-Sport boys have swapped places. Evans now ahead of Hirvonen by 0.4 of a second. As the rally arrives back to the Messi Park service, all the talk is about tyres. Thierry Neuville feels confident he made the right decision as he piles the pressure on Meek.
The stages were wet, in the Serbic park it was wet, so everybody started on soft tyre. And for the long one, we had a good discuss with our engineer and my co-driver. And yeah, we opted for hard one. Obviously, we were not alone, Dani as well, and the times are quite equal and good, so it seems to be the good choice.
You have a little bit too much speed on a place where it's dirt or mud. You can lose it so quickly, and on tarmac, the edge where the grip level is, when you lose it, the edge is so narrow that you can't necessarily get it back. On gravel, the edge is larger. If you start the slide, you have normally chance to get it back, but on tarmac, it's not the case.
Now on tarmac, you've never won, have you?
It's been one of my dreams to win a tarmac rally, but we still have halfway to go.
Back out to the stages, and with dark clouds looming above, it's surely only a matter of time before the rain arrives. First up this afternoon, Stein and Vine and Peterburg. And this scrap between Elfyn Evans and Mikko Hirvonen has been fascinating to behold. Evans, the young apprentice, giving the master a real run for his money this afternoon.
Open 4 left over crest.
Tyre choice is again going to be critical with the threat of rain in the air, and it seems the M Sport boys are keeping their cards close to their chest.
To be honest, I was expecting a bit more of a benefit over the guys on all softs, but doesn't seem to be much in it.
What have you got in the boot?
Black and round.
In stage 11, though, it's the turn of M Sport's elder statesman to fight back. Kievanen relishing this scrap for position, albeit for a lowly 6th spot, but it seems there is life in the old dog yet. In Stein and Vine, Mikko is 3.2 seconds quicker, and once again, the M Sport boys have swapped places. Mikko, though, is being just as secretive about his tyre tactics.
It was quite dry, but this stage through it was working pretty well.
Okay, so all softs, what's in the boot?
Spare tools.
That's the scrap for 6th covered, but what about the scuffle for 2nd place? This man, Chris Meek, remember, just 8 seconds ahead of a fired-up Thierry Neuville as the afternoon loop got underway.
Small one to watch it, and long flat 5 right for 100 nips, 120 flat to 6 left, 150 big stop deceptive.
In the second pass through the 17 kilometres of Stein and Vine, though, it appears a mysterious tyre issue could have a big impact on this intensifying fight for position.
Chris, as you're rolling up to the stop line there, the front right wheel's a bit wobbly and the tyres pushed strangely off the rim. What happened?
I have no idea. On the last 3K, on left-handers, I started to feel something strange and I thought I had a puncture. And then on the wide road here near the end, I had to come down a couple of gears for every corner. So, yeah, I have no idea where I got the puncture.
Yeah, well, Meek clueless as to the cause of that problem, but Neuville is quick to pounce on the delayed Brit. That pre-event accident must feel like a long time ago now. The Belgian driving a completely rebuilt Hyundai i20, remember, and he is paying back his team handsomely with this display. 2nd fastest in stage 11, Neuville edges even closer to the man in 2nd. In the following Peterburg stage, though, the expected rain has finally arrived. And Danny Sordo is the first to be caught out by the sodden road. Aquaplaning off the road here in stage 12, and with around 15 seconds dropped, that could be that for the Spaniards' hopes of getting back involved in the fight for 2nd. Sordo is now over 20 seconds behind Neuville following that spin, but look at the gap between 2nd and 3rd now, just 0.4 of a second between the Belgian and Chris Meek. Out front, Latvaler's lead is approaching the magic minute mark. Kievanen's fought back in the fight for 6th, the Finn now 1.8 seconds ahead of Evans after stage 12. It's back to the daunting Panzerplatte after the break. Can Meek respond to the Neuville charge? Find out in a few minutes. Welcome back to the 2nd day of the ADAC Rally Deutschland, and a chance now to get you up to date with the WRC 2 category. Overnight leader Bernardo Sousa had a day to forget. The Portuguese driver had to stop and change a puncture in stage 10, dropping him out of the fight for the lead. And things went from bad to worse on the very next stage. Sousa stopping again in 11 and was unable to continue. Frenchman Julien Morin recorded the quickest time through stage 10, giving him the rally lead over rival Pontus Tiedemann. The two had been in an intriguing battle at the front, but the Swede stopped in the final stage and slipped back to 4th. Wout Tanak finished the day strongly with the quickest run through the final stage, but with over a minute to make up on leader Morin, Tanak's attention will be trying to hold his position tomorrow. German Armin Kramer jumped from 6th to 3rd after the first run through the challenging Panzerplatte stage this morning. He completes the podium positions heading into the final day. Back to the big boys, and after the short arena Panzerplatte stage, Thierry Neuville is now 9/10 of a second behind Chris Meek as we turn our attention to the final stage of the day. It's the big one, a return to the 42.5 kilometres of Panzerplatte Lang. Now, we haven't seen much of this man, Brian Bouffier, since his stirring second-place finish in Monte Carlo, but the Hyundai Tarmac test driver has finally been rewarded for all his hard work with a first works drive in the I-20. The Frenchman's fought his way up to 9th on the leaderboard. The punishing Panzerplatte was about to strike again, though. Well, we've seen it time and again over the years, but when a rally car collides with a Hinkelstein, there is invariably only one winner. The rain may have stopped, but Bouffier's accident will serve as a reminder for the following cars that grip levels are still very unpredictable.
It happens that there was a long and fast left corner, so I go wide and been in the grass, you know, and the back turn, and I couldn't avoid a big stone, and then I went out. So it's a shame. The car is a bit damaged. I hope the team will be able to rebuild it quite quickly, and it happens.
Worryingly, though, for Chris Meek and this man, Thierry Neuville, there isn't really too much scope to ease off the pace. The Belgian has been the star of the show on this second day, already having charged his way up from 5th to 3rd, and arrives in this second pass through Panzerplatte within a second of the man in the runner-up spot. One more charge past the Hinkelsteins, and second place could be his. After seeing his advantage over the Belgian gradually eroded over this afternoon loop, though, finally Meek has found the response.
Keep the left over long and keep left 80. Turn at 6 right -8, don't go wide.
Finding a more consistent rhythm on these now drying concrete roads, this is a stirring finish to the day for Citroen's Northern Irishman. 3.4 seconds quicker than Neuville, Meek gives himself a little bit of breathing space with just 4 stages to run.
I had good splits. At one point I think we were 2.5 or 3 up, so I really tried to manage the soft tyre again in here, but the car is absolutely fantastic on this road. It's beautiful, you know. With a bit more experience maybe I could do something more with it, but I'm really enjoying it.
Well, that incredible battle for second place looks set to go right down to the wire. Barring disaster now, Jari-Matti Latvala looks set to claim a landmark victory in Germany and strike a big blow in the championship race. With news filtering through that Ogier will not be able to restart on the final day, a maximum score here would get Latvala right back in the hunt as we reach the business end of the season. With 5 stage wins out of 7 on this second day, Latvala's lead has been extended to 56.6 seconds, while Meek's fight back sees him take a 4.3 second advantage over Neuville going into the final leg. Over the page, Hirvonen leads the M-Sport battle ahead of Elvin Evans, with Mads Osberg, Martin Prokop and a recovering Robert Kubica rounding off the top 10.
I really want it. I want to hold this position because it could also make the championship on the World Rally Championship could make it a lot more interesting for everybody for the end of the year.
On the first stage out of service, I was able to match him on the splits. I was a little bit faster towards the end, and then I got a puncture with 3Ks to go and I lost 4 seconds, so I was quite lucky actually. I only lost 4, but then the next stage was very, very wet, and he took another big chunk of time from me. But then when I went to Baumholder, the military range, I was able to take some time in the long stage. The Citroen was working incredibly well, I have to say. It was a pleasure to drive on the last loop, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow, but I'm not prepared to risk everything for second place. When I don't have a contract for next year, I need to keep a little bit in my pocket.
We make the good choice this morning with the hard tyre, and in the afternoon it was quite obviously that the soft tyre would be the fastest. So good day for us. We complete every stage in a good rhythm and with a good time, and finally we catch back the 3rd position. So I must be pleased with that.
With it all to play for on the final day in Germany, we'll be back tomorrow for the exciting finale of Rally Deutschland. For now, from myself, Paul King, and Kevin Piper from Trier, it's goodbye.